Hey everyone, it's Kaelin Anderson. Welcome back to my channel, Pour Special Events. I am going through your comments, your questions, and I'm trying to answer some of the ones that I've seen recently. And on this third video of these videos that I'm batching here today, I wanted to talk about alcohol purchasing do's and don'ts. This is super important if you are getting into the mobile bartending space. If you are getting into another kind of mobile business, say mobile like barista, like a mobile coffee bar, or if you're getting into mobile retail, I've seen some really cute trailers with like clothing items and things. You're gonna have different things that are do's and don'ts for those businesses. This one is specifically pertaining to mobile bartending, and it really goes by the state that you're in and the regulations that they have in place. It's really important to do your research and figure out what you don't know before you do it, so that you don't get in trouble or get yourself kind of hung up on some of these things. Again, all of the info that I'm giving you are just things that I've learned along the way. They're things that work for me on my journey, and I am not saying to, take these as legal advice or anything. Please always consult with your lawyer, with your tax preparer, with anybody that's, in your background when it comes to your business specifically. But these are just some things that I've learned along the way that have worked in my business, and I wanted to share them all with you. So one of the big questions we get all the time is alcohol purchasing. And if I can't purchase alcohol through my business to provide for the clients, then how do we do that? And how do we get them to still book our services if they have to bring it in themselves? And how do we just help them make that process very seamless and easy? So I will begin by saying that I am in Pennsylvania. I do not purchase alcohol. We cannot do that. The host has to purchase for their own private event. And those private events then need to make sure that everyone is licensed and insured, liquor liability insurance, personal catering insurance, general liability insurance, all of those things. So we do not purchase alcohol ever. We run as a dry hire bartending service, meaning that we can provide all sorts of things: rentals, consumables, the mixer packages, all of that, like I've stated in previous videos. We will never buy your alcohol, bring your alcohol. We can't do that. So how do you then get your clients to say, well, if you can't bring it, then I have to do that. Then, how do you justify that? Well, one of the biggest things that I say is, in Pennsylvania, I have to say, hey, listen, right up front, we are BYOB. You have to bring your own. I will help you along the way as we get closer to your event and you nail down your exact guest count and you decide kind of what things you'd like to offer, or I can recommend things for you to offer. I will help you with those totals, and I'll explain to you where you can go to find these things, and then you can get them at the cheapest price possible. And if you're able to wait, for us, there are different policies in place that if they get them, within 15 days, anything that's not opened, they can return in certain cases. So I say, hey, it actually saves you a lot if you're not someone that wants to have bulk of things laying around. And that savings goes right, from to you. It doesn't have to go through me. You don't have to worry about third party anything. So we just always operate as a mobile dry hire option. Now, here's the next thing again. So if that was not clear, no liquor license, no purchasing. Okay, that's it. If you are watching me and you were in one of our southern states in the United States, I know they have different laws. I think it's so neat that you could do mobile permits or special permits or whatever. They have different options. We don't have that option. So if you have some option that's different there, figure out what those are. You could apply for those. I believe here in Pennsylvania, one of the things that you would do if you were offering that, like say you're a full-time food caterer, you own an established restaurant or catering business that owns a liquor license, a liquor permit, you can then apply for that special catering permit above and beyond what you already have, and then that can take you out to do those off-site catering events, and you can charge per head and you can bring that liquor with you. In my case, I don't own a restaurant or a bar. To own a restaurant or bar and then take on all that's a whole nother beast of its own, and not something that I'm interested in at this time. So there are very many avenues on how you can do these things based on location that you're in. But at this time, no liquor license, no purchasing. Easy peasy. So your contracts and services, they have to be clear that you are BYOB. You do not sell alcohol. You do not provide the alcohol. It is the client's responsibility. They know that. They are hiring you to be a responsible server, that your staff is, in our case, we call it RAMP certified, meaning they do their responsible alcohol management courses every 2 years. They have their certifications. And then we also carry our liability insurances. So it's really important to have those things, those ducks in a row, that they're clearly stated in your contracts, because then they know that they have to provide that alcohol in order to have that at their event. Now, as I said before, you can help create those menus. You can help them get those quantities that they need, and that is super helpful to them. So I always say, as part of our service, I will help you create your custom cocktail menu, your custom drink menu, and I will help you figure out your quantities needed. This is where being a bartender before was super helpful, because I kind of know, how much of these things and the trends and all that. But you also can find really good alcohol calculators or estimates. I know different state stores online, they have them available. You can, Google different calculators and find them. But typically the calculators and stuff you see online are not too bad. They're pretty easy to decipher, and they're pretty helpful. So for us in Pennsylvania, we have wine and spirit stores and beer distributors. So if they're looking to get liquor or wine, they would go to a wine and spirit store or liquor store. If they're looking to get beer, they could go through a distributor. It is important, I would say, in your local area to make relationships with those local distributors and stores. So for instance, we have a local beer distributor, and yes, the client has to call, place the order, pay for it. They have to do the whole thing. But if I have that relationship with them, I can help answer some of those questions and ease some of those worries by saying, hey, listen, if you work with this distributor, I can ask those questions for you. You're just the one that's paying for it, picking it up. It's just, your purchase, but I can help you with all of that. So if they're looking for a specific type of craft beer in a keg, seeing if they could get that from somewhere. We had clients that were looking for something from Germany, and they wanted to know if there was a way that the distributor could get that in if they gave them enough time, and we did, and got it, and it was awesome, and they were super excited about it. So making those connections with those local retailers and distributors is still very important to help give your clients that I think the question that I received was helping them feel very confident in their purchasing and understanding of how it all works. That's one big way to help them. The next thing that I've done that's been very helpful in this whole process is creating, and I've just used Google Forms because it goes with my email for my business and all that stuff, but creating a form, and it helps to gauge exactly what your clients are looking for as they get closer in their planning process. This way you can help them provide accurate quantities of what they need. When you really get going into these events, you may get asked to do events that are multiple days, which is really exciting, but you want to make sure you're helping them calculate what they need effectively, because multiple days means a lot more that they're going to need. So we had an event that, one day they were just going to offer beer and wine. The next day they were going to offer full bar. The next day, they were going to offer a full bar plus a couple other things that they hadn't done yet, because that was their final day of their event. That was their wedding day. The days leading up to that were for rehearsal and a family camp day. So they really wanted the gamut of things, and they had different guest counts for each day. So by offering them our form and saying, okay, day 1, how many guests? Here are all the things that you could offer. What are you looking for? Day 2, how many guests? What are you looking to offer? Day 3, just taking that form and multiplying it 3 times, they were able to give me specifics of what they were looking for, and I was able to give them an accurate, here's what you're going to need to get. And it made it so much easier. It looked very professional, clean, organized, and it's all in one place then. So you could do that with just a single form for a single day. And then if you start to take on events that are multiple day events, then you could add on to that and give it to them and go day by day and see what they need. Here is the last thing, because it's going to probably drive you crazy. If you are in this business for the long haul, if you are serious about doing this, no matter how many times you work with the client, you give them the quantities and you reassure them that, hey, I know what I'm doing. I promise you that the quantities that I'm telling you to get will be enough. You will be fine. You will have more than enough. It will be plenty. They're not going to listen to you. So don't take it to heart. There have been so many times where I say, like, please listen to me. I know what I'm doing. I promise you, you will have enough. I'm giving you a number that should be way more than what you need, but not an obnoxious leftover amount that you're going to have to be moving over and over and over again. They're going to get what they want anyway. I have seen it where I have given instructions for what to get and the sizes of what to get, and they get the smaller sizes, and things run out really early, and they're like, oh, well, okay, that is what it is. And then I've seen the opposite, where we give quantities, and they were doing, there's one event that did cans of beer, gave quantities. They literally got like 50 cases more than what the quantities were, and they spent a lot of time trucking everything in. They spent a lot of time trucking everything out. And depending on the day of your event and the location, the venue that you're using, if your client is doing like a Sunday event where everything has to be in and out in the same day, that's a lot of moving things around, and it's heavy. And if you had to truck everything in that morning, then get ready, try and enjoy the event, rush through the day, and now you have to clean up after it as well, that's a lot of stuff to be moving around multiple times. So try and have that honest conversation with them. Try and say, hey, listen, I promise I know what I'm doing. I'm confident. I've done the research. This will give you the extra that you need without being, a ton extra. But there is a good chance they are just going to get what they want to get anyway. And you're just going to have to shrug it off and just keep going, because it happens all the time. And then the last thing I had on my notes here was just talking about, how helpful those alcohol calculators are. Knowing the return policies of your state, what can and cannot be returned, where they can go. And then the other thing too is having the plan for when things will get moved in and out, how they're going to be moved in and out. So as I was just saying, in our state, we are BYOB. We show up with what we can, but those hosts are bringing in, that alcohol, what they want. So I tell them, hey, just leave it by wherever your bar station is, or where I'm going to be setting up the bar station. Leave it there. We will get it all set up and organized, and we will leave it in an orderly manner in that same general location. But it is the host's responsibility, whoever is the payee, who owns that alcohol, to bring in and to take with. So we will leave it organized, clean, condensed, but we don't take anything with us. So that's why I highly encourage them to kind of stick to our quantities so they don't have to move things so many times. You as that business owner aren't going to want to move it a million times either. So make sure you have a clear plan with them in place of, hey, this is where you can leave it if you're setting up the venue before I get there. And this is where you expect them to grab it from on their way out, because that's where you will leave it as well. So those are kind of the biggest things, talking about alcohol purchasing do's and don'ts when it comes to mobile bartending, specifically when you're doing these high scale weddings that are going to take a lot of product, that you're going to have, a lot of things that need to be moved around, need to be chilled, need to be organized, and kind of what that looks like, where you can get it from, what you can and cannot do with it based on the laws of your state. And if you are in some of these southern states, I encourage you to look to see what those laws look like, because you might be able to get special events permits or liquor licenses that allow you to operate that way. And then you could charge on overhead, like a flat fee per person, and provide those things. That would be great for you. Just where I am, that's not something we can do. So make sure you're checking out those laws and you're doing your homework ahead of time so that you can be successful and have a seamless season ahead. Again, if you like these videos, if you found anything helpful, if you have any extra questions, please put them in the comments below. I read them, I check them over, I try and respond as quickly as I can, and a lot of times those questions stem into new videos that I'm able to share out with you. So thank you so much. And please hit that subscribe button if you found any of this helpful. It's really helpful for me to continue making these new videos, and I will see you here in our next one.